Hey everybody, this is Lisa Riley, and I am the founder and CEO of ODOS Synergy Services Women of Color Global Entrepreneur Network here in Silicon Valley, San Jose, California. And I'm really excited right now. We're doing the in-home sheltering right now all over the world, and I'm excited to have invited my sister friend, Miss Jamie Levine, or the pseudonym is J Freedom here from Mexico, and she's going to share with you this phenomenal book that's really timely for this Rona pandemic and African American people of color in the United States and actually around the world, because she's trying to wake people up. And the name of her book is We Out, the Blueprint. There you go, sister. The Blueprint: How to End Our Abusive Relationship with America. And that's spelled Amerika, like the KKK. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
having
being
me.
patient, Jamie. Tell us about yourself, where you live, what you're doing, your career, what you're doing right now. You're really busy right now, educating a lot of people. Tell us about yourself.
I live in Mexico. I had enough and I left the States. I started researching maybe about 2 or 3 years before I decided to leave. And the last straw was Trump throwing those paper towels to the people in Puerto Rico after Maria. My business partner and I, we got together, we collected some like water purification tablets, cards for like Home Depot, Lowe's and stuff, and uh, water and stuff. Because in Louisiana we're used to hurricanes, so we know what to do. Hygienic products, all those kind of things. And
Absolutely.
my wife and I took them down to Puerto Rico, and we had some friends living down there as well. And it was just, what else needs to happen at this particular point? I'm a teacher by trade. I'm a social scientist and historian as well. And I just want to help my people and let them know that they have options. You don't have to stay in the United States and put up with the things that your ancestors did and the things that we're dealing with even now.
So I love this because, as you know, that I'm trying to be a world traveler and leave the country part time, and so I love it when I meet my entrepreneur um, global citizen sisters to kind of share their experience. And this is phenomenal because we're in the middle of this pandemic, and African Americans entrepreneurs are really hurting right now financially and losing their jobs. Didn't get their share. We didn't get our share of the CARES Act funding, and they're going through many cycles. People can't pay their rent. People can't pay their mortgage. I'm one of them. And so we want to talk about what the possibilities are and how you came up with this blueprint to transition out of this country. Enlighten us on, your thought processes and how you came about putting together this whole concept, this thought process.
Well, I started thinking about how after slavery, a lot of the plantation owners, they got insurance payouts, and some of the insurers were some of the biggest names on Wall Street now. And so I was like, well, if they haven't had insurance on that, they still have insurance on a lot of things, even like with the last financial crisis, the banks and the mortgage companies, they wrote it all off. So, and they got bailouts. So if they're still doing that, then that means that what if we decided to stop playing the game? And then when I looked at the pandemic, literally in 2 weeks, some of the biggest companies on the planet can't pay their bills. So if the reality is, how is it that these big corporations, and they always are telling people to put money on the side for a rainy day, the rainy day is here, and they haven't been able to do that. Also, I wrote the book shortly after the Alton Sterling killing. Originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I was out there and protesting and marching and all of this stuff. Police out there spraying people and kids, and the way that they would get you is they would drag you out in the street and then arrest you. And it's like, okay, this didn't work back then. We don't have hoses and dogs right now, but you know, this just not working. And then I got a bad back too, so I can't be doing all of that walking and marching and stuff, and that, you know, I don't have time for that. And then I started thinking, like, what if instead of like fighting and taking antiquated methods like marching and protesting and begging and all of these things, what if we start using our minds? They've been playing chess this whole time, and we've just been sitting there begging.
Girl, I just said that. I said that the same thing. We are pawn. I just said this today, Jamie.
We are begging, we are crying, we prayed for this. Look, Frederick Douglass even said, you know, he prayed all he wanted, but nothing happened until he got on his feet and started moving. That's how he got out. So I'm like, well, what if we get on our feet and start moving? I knew that with them, with the civil rights movement, the way that it worked was that they had to impact them financially. Also being from Baton Rouge is where the civil rights movement started. King came to Baton Rouge under the tutelage of the Reverend Dr. T.J. Jemison, because he started the Baton Rouge bus boycott, and it lasted maybe about 25, 30 days, but he learned that technique and implemented it with the Montgomery bus boycott, which lasted about a year, which effectively almost bankrupted them, and they had to start letting these African Americans sit on the buses where they wanted to. So it's like it's kind of in my blood, the rebellious fighting spirit. So the way to get to them is economically. So instead of us, you know, boycotting here and there, because, you know, we don't have anything. Another thing with integration was that we lost all of our infrastructure. You know, we cut all the checks. We had the businesses, everything that you needed. You could find a Black-owned business to provide that good or service to you, and it was out of necessity. And the whole time we've been sitting there trying to integrate so much into their system that we lost the infrastructure of ours. So they know once we get out there and start, oh, we're gonna boycott, it can't last, because you got to go get a bar of soap. You have to, they cut your checks, you have to buy your stuff from them. And they know this. So, you know, they don't even try to give you a few little carrots anymore. It's just like, okay, we're just gonna wait for this to blow over, and we're gonna send out some police and military gear, and then we're going to arrest everybody, and then, you know, on to the next thing. Thoughts and prayers, blah blah blah.
Keep it
on
going.
to the next thing.
So I'm as you're talking, I'm thinking of.
You cutting out. Hold up.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, there we go. Gotcha.
As you're talking, and I just had this conversation with another brother earlier today, and we were talking about similar stuff, and I was telling him I was going to be talking to you, but Black Wall Street, right, in the early 1900s, and we had a whole cooperative economic system within our own community back then, and then they didn't like it, and people got blown up, right? They separated everybody, and so, and out of fear, we were afraid to go back into that system. And here we are, you know, fast forward here in 2020, now we have another crisis, and it's been brewing for some time, and we're still decentralized. And, you know, we need to figure out a way to come together collectively and put all our minds together and create another cooperative system, economic system. And you're creating another solution, get up, get out, right? But, you know,
they absolutely need us in order for all of this to work. And if just us, we're only 13% of the population. I want to say we like 14 point something million. I hadn't checked the statistics in about a year, but we're only 13 point something percent of the population. So statistically, if like 3% of that left, that could still hold a significant economic impact. I mean, if you think about the people who left out of the South,
we spent all our money in the system.
Right.
African
Right,
Americans are one of the highest consumers, largest consumers. The marketing people, I was reading this a couple months ago, they just waiting for us, right?
right.
The marketing companies that do marketing and stuff like that. I mean, we are major consumers in this economy.
And I talk about that in the book as well as the amount of spending that we have and what the projection was like within the next 10 years or so as far as spending. We're in the trillions already. So,
My only concern is, so, and we also know right now too, in the last year, 2 years, there's been a big surge in African American women and women of color entrepreneurs now, being the largest growing segment in the country. And again, once again, with the largest segment, women of color, African American, Latina women, but least likely to have access to angel funding, financial tools, and resources, and we're not as successful, right?
right.
And so I don't know what the numbers are on the success rates. I know there's a large number of African American um, women entrepreneurs in business. I just don't know the percentage breakdown. But you know, that's another reason with this whole economic chaos, and you know, the talk that we're going into a recession right now. So we need to come up with some alternatives, some action plans, some strategies to build ourselves back up. And so I love this. And we talked about Garveyism earlier, and I know you want to talk a little bit about that and how you use some of that historical data as well in your writings.
Yes. So, um, as far as the research and everything, one thing that I noticed as far as building the blueprint for us is that whenever anybody fought for us, the powers that be took them down. They either flat out killed them or they defamed them and exiled them. Case in point, Marcus Garvey. Um, he was not perfect, but he had a good idea and he was trying to do something which is most people aren't. Um, I think that we don't need a leader, and that's part of the lesson learned. Number one, we control the money, and we need to learn how to redirect our resources in order to pool them, in order to create things like Black Wall Street, and also to utilize everybody. Everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a role. So somebody that you may see as a, you know, a crackhead or a wino, if you just sit down and talk to them, they are brilliant. You know, dude can dig a trench and lay down some solar lines or however. I'm not technically advanced, but they can come up with something. You know, they can create something. They can do something. And if we have enough people that are on the same page, and even if somebody is not so, you know, quote unquote educated or learning about a certain subject, it's incumbent upon us to create a almost like a social contract. I drew from Locke and everything as well too for the blueprint. A social contract amongst Black Americans with each other, in order for us to help each other bring the next one in. And just like anything, there will be some collateral damage. Some people will not understand it. Some people may not be mentally ready to receive it. Some people can't walk away from everything that they know and absorb a new culture and a new language. And I understand that it's not for everybody. Some people not getting on a plane for 15 hours.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the mindset change, right? Because we got a paradigm shift going on globally.
Globally.
And so, I mean, I'm just waking up to really what's going on globally and economically. And my platforms with ODOS, Women of Color, is around cybersecurity, protecting your data and your information, cryptocurrency.
It went out again. It went out. We're gonna cord. No.
Coming.
Okay, there we go.
It's coming.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it comes quickly. Yeah. So global economies. I just had a women's economic development conference in March, my second one, right? and there were 70 to 100 sisters that came through there, and we was talking about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity, protecting your data and information as African American women of color and small businesses, emotional intelligence, digital marketing, financial wealth building, right? Because we need to step up our game because our community is behind the game. And with this global game, this global digital game, and now we shifting because people gonna be doing everything online. I was reading an article
Everything.
today about all these companies closing, everything going online. So now we got to start getting educated. But it's the mindset. What did you say a few minutes ago? You've got to sit down with people, explain it to them, break it down to them. But some of them ain't gonna get it because one, a lot of us ain't never left the country, so we don't know what's going on outside the United States. Two, we believe everything we hear on TV, we see on TV, right? People were telling me, oh, you know, they got, so let's use Mexico. They got the drug
The
cartel.
cartel. That's what everybody always saying. What about the cartels?
I said, look, I said, we got drugs here, right next door to you. You would never know it. Plus,
Right.
if you can get killed or you get hurt, I say you can walk outside your door and get killed. I'm
Right.
from Richmond, California, which was one of the murder capitals of the world, the country at one time,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, it doesn't matter. God gave us free will to go wherever we want to go, but
Right.
it's in here. It's a mindset change. When I went to Paris, people were like, because they were bombing. That was the year they were bombing over in Paris.
My niece went that year too.
Yeah, and hold on.
I can still hear
You
you.
hear me? Wow, that's
Huh?
weird. Did you hear me? Okay.
Huh?
So 2017, and I planned that trip for 6 months. My mom had died a couple of years earlier, and I was feeling some kind of way in corporate America. And I needed to do something. I needed to see
Just
the
get
world
free.
get away, and you know, raise my awareness about stuff. And it was the best thing I could have did. But you know what the sisters were saying to me? Oh, I'm not going over there right now because I don't want to get killed while they're bombing over there. Or, oh, it's too dangerous. And I'm like, you know what? Fine, I get it. God got me, right? Because we can go anywhere in the world, anything can happen. I can go down,
Anything.
something can happen. It's a mindset change. So,
Right.
um, that's going to be the challenge. You already know that. So the people that have the heart to listen and open up their minds and their spirits, I guess those are the people that you're going to win over. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's still a large percentage of us, of that 13%, that we're not going to get it. We're not going to comprehend it. And
Yeah.
we're stuck. I don't want to be stuck anymore. I want to have options, right?
We want to be free.
I want to be free. We want to be free to know we have options, but we have to learn about your blueprint. So I'm excited at you being here today. I'm excited at you. I'd like to see you do more webinars, more training. You can come back to us. We can host some trainings and classes because we have to change that mindset. We have to change our limited, narrow perception of our little microscopic worlds. Right?
I figure we're so busy chasing the little pieces of cheese that they give us that we aren't focusing on the big picture. I mean, and I talk about that in the book as well. You know, you think, oh, I got a degree from this PWI, this fancy institution. I have all these alphabets behind my name. I live in this neighborhood. I live in this car. I drive this car. I take these trips once a year. Blah, 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 blah. I have all these.
Tesla. I got a Tesla.
Right. But at the end of the day, you know, it's like, okay, you could still take those resources, redirect them somewhere else, and live, because the cost of living in a lot of places is way less than it is in the United States. And it's so bad that even a lot of retirees and white folks are leaving because they cannot afford to live in the United States. And this was before Corona happened. So I can only imagine, you know, all of the check your 401k people and, you know, all of the, the stock market's doing great. The average person doesn't have any stocks. And, you know, they don't have that level of wealth that they are checking the stock market every day. The average person is trying to get by on that $1,200 that they made, you know, for 2 weeks. They got to feed everybody, put gas in the car. They need to do this. Kids need uniforms, need braces. They got to pay their house note, car note, pay the light bill, you name it. That's what the average person is doing. What if you redirected that? Just like this coronavirus is showing that it doesn't matter how rich you are with the corporations, they still need welfare, because that's what it is. It's corporate welfare.
It's corporate
Then
welfare.
the people who need it can't get to it. We have a representative government. The United States Congress, the legislative branch, is a representative government. They are to represent the will of the people, which they are not. And the people are suffering. And it's not just Black folks that's suffering, it's everybody suffering. But the problem is that nobody paid attention to it until the white people started suffering as well. And that's the thing that people need to wake up. They all of a sudden, oh, we don't have money for reparations. They found money. They found money to send you $1,200. They found money to do these corporate bailouts. They're gonna find more money to give you your well, they found money for your unemployment and all of that stuff. And they're gonna find more money to give you a monthly stipend while all of this is going on.
Well, so I was just reading today now in the second, it's the second and third phase of the funding they're offering. There's some legislators offering $2,000 a month for 1 year for single people, $4,000 a month for a couple. Okay, and then there's another recommendation to this just came out today, I think. There's another recommendation to offer you your mortgage and renters coverage for up to a year. Okay,
they
so
found the money. Who owns property?
The money was already there. You know, the money was already there, or they taking the money from Social Security or somewhere else.
But they found it.
So the mindset shift, that's really imperative. I'm sure that'll be around your next book. But also looking at other countries, you mentioned, you know, being able to relocate to cheaper areas, Vegas, Reno, Florida, Texas, other countries, Mexico. I mean, I was in Mexico last year and I was looking at apartments. I can get a spot for what, 300. Was it you was telling me, y'all were teasing me online one time? One of the sisters in Mexico, they got
for
under $500, and I was like, what? Do you know? I ain't gonna tell you online how much my mortgage is, but it ain't cheap. Okay.
Yeah, I can only imagine in California. I know what time it is.
Right, and so you know, and then you have affordable health care, right? And here you got to pay a grip for health care.
And half the stuff ain't even covered, because you know you're gonna get a letter about 3 months later telling them that they didn't cover whatever procedure that you had.
Right, and they're gonna cut you off. And in Mexico, I know for a fact that I was talking to Tahira. She was my social media manager, and her fiance is in the medical field. She was putting together a group medical network, right? Where you join the group, you can get all your healthcare, dental, everything for like a nominal fee for the entrepreneur sisters out there for the network, right? And I was like, shit, I just want to come there and get my teeth done. I want to come do this. Let me go take a little nip. Y'all can nip and tuck some over here, you know. But at the end of the day, there's a network in these different communities also, which a lot of uninformed people don't know. In Mexico, in Brazil, and all these different countries, there is a community. There's communities of African Americans.
We are literally all over the planet.
All over the planet. People homeschooling their children, traveling the world. They're global citizens. I mean, it's amazing, and we're going to talk about that in the future, and hopefully bring some of the other sisters on to talk about their experiences. But there's so much opportunity out there, and we need to educate. And I'm so glad that you're doing this, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to sit down, because you know it's really crazy for everybody right now.
Yeah.
And, I'm glad we had the opportunity to sit down. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up? This will probably be part one. We're gonna probably come back and be like have part 2 and 3 and stuff like that. But anything else that you want to share relevant to your book or the blueprint for our community, our viewers?
I advise if you don't have a passport, and it's gonna be real hard with everything going on, go ahead and try to get one. They're probably going to be slow, but if you can still get one, get one. If it's time to renew it, go ahead and get it renewed now. Start that process because they're going to be slow if they even are still working on it. Next up is that you need to learn the asylum and refugee rules for Canada and Mexico. It's going to vary a little bit because I didn't even take into account a global pandemic. I wrote this book. I started writing in 2016. I finished it in December of 2018, and I released it on Martin Luther King's birthday last year in 2019. But I didn't even think about a pandemic. But learn the refugee and asylum laws, because if you can't get that passport, or if you don't have a passport, and I'll also provide information on how to get your record expunged and stuff, but you're going to have to do further research for your particular area of the country because it varies.
Are you doing any consulting with people that might want to travel? You might want to mention your website.
No, I'm not doing any consulting or anything right now. I'm just
Maybe I should.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I do have a Instagram. That's an idea, collaboration. I do have Instagram
account.
Instagram is going to be We Out the Blueprint, and then the Twitter is jfreedoms_6, and the other thing is the asylum and refugee laws. The closest places for escape is Canada and the United States. Everybody thought, like with the Underground Railroad, that everybody went up north, but no, a lot of people went down south. And if you're geographically in a location that's quicker to get south into Mexico, then that may be the quickest route of escape for you, because this is far from over. It's going to get bad. Not only that, it's not me being paranoid. Like I say, I'm a historian. History literally repeats itself over and over. And that's one of the things that I noticed, that we had a pattern of a 40 to 60 year time frame of, civil rights stuff flares up. They give us a few little tidbits, quiets down, and then boom, it hits again. And we were about 6 or 7 years overdue for what I call a social upheaval event. But also intellectual radicalism. Stop fighting with these people. Stop marching. Stop complaining. Stop crying and begging. Use your mind. You can become radical, but become intellectually radical. Start using your mind in order to outthink them and think your way out of this country. Because if you stop, and we see what's going on economically, if we stop for 2 weeks, they're not going to be able to function. They can't make it. I guarantee you that it'll affect social change eventually.
Coming up with contingency plans, thinking out of the box, using our minds. My thing is, because we have the COVID-19 discussion groups every Friday, and I'm inviting people to come in and bring constructive, strategic ideas to help our community get better connected. And I'm like, don't bring the BS. We ain't doing the BS. Don't bring we ain't complaining. I want to hear it, because I'm all about trying to create solutions, because I want to move forward. And so bringing constructive solutions, bringing collaboration and cooperative, ideas, cooperative. There's the Sustainable Economic Legal Center here in the Bay Area, and they do cooperative business models like they used to do back in, Black Wall Street, but like a lot of the credit unions are co-ops, and a lot of the countries have co-ops set up. They will come do presentations and stuff like that. And so let's start being innovative and creative. God made us, we are creators.
We are survivors.
Phenomenal people. We're survivors. We're creators. We got ideas. We can think for ourselves. And now we're going to be forced to think for ourselves. So, J Freedom, Jamie, this was phenomenal. Tell people where they can get your book.
They can go on Amazon, and they can put in, it's the only one with the upside down flag. And just so you know, part of the United States Senate Code is when the only time the flag should ever be flown upside down is in times of extreme duress, and we are beyond extreme duress, not just as African Americans in the country, but the nation is in extreme duress. It's the only book that's on there that you'll see this upside down flag. We out, Amazon.com, paperback, ebook, or Kindle device.
And this is part one, right?
This is part one. It's a 3-part series. I just haven't sat down to start typing. I got everything scribbled out and outlined, but I just literally have not had the time to start typing.
We'll talk later. Maybe I can get some books from you too, and we'll promote them on our end too, to our network and on our website too. So we'll talk more about that. Hey everybody, this is Lisa Riley with ODOS Synergy Services, Women of Color Global, Women of Color Entrepreneur Network here in San Jose, California, and Silicon Valley. And you can reach us go to our website at www.odossynergyservices.org. We all love Facebook. We all love Instagram. We all love LinkedIn. So holler at us. We'd love to hear from you. And we will be back in the future with We Out. Thank you, Jamie. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's do some jams. What I got here? NDIRE girl.
All right. I appreciate you, Ms. Lisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you.